Really? You gave it away. I couldn't form the words fast enough as I stared at the dainty ring in my trembling hand, its subtle glimmer a cruel reminder of a promise once made. My heart thundered in my chest, a mix of shock, anger, and unbearable sorrow. My name is Adrian Cole, and if someone had told me that the ring I treasured, a family heirloom passed down through generations, would one day be given away by the woman I loved, only for her to later discover its true worth, I never could have imagined the roller coaster that awaited me. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday that felt anything but ordinary. I had spent months preparing for the day I would finally propose to Emily, the woman I believed was my soulmate. Every detail of our future had been meticulously planned, from the quiet, intimate proposal at the park to the long-term dreams we whispered under starlit skies. That ring, with its intricate design and century-old engravings, was more than a piece of jewelry. It was a tangible link to my past, a legacy of love, sacrifice, and the memories of my late grandmother who had worn it proudly. We were sitting together in our favorite corner at a cozy Italian restaurant when it happened. The candlelight flickered softly between us as we reminisced about our childhoods and spoke about the future we hoped to create. Emily's eyes shone with anticipation, and I felt that life was at the cusp of turning into something spectacular. But amid the conversation, an offhand remark caught my attention. "Adrian, that ring is so pretty. It must have a fascinating story behind it," she said, her tone light and almost detached. I smiled, eager to share the cherished history behind it, explaining how it had been in my family for as long as I could remember, an heirloom steeped in love and memory. I should have known something was amiss when, a few weeks later, I noticed subtle changes in her behavior. Texts that once flowed freely grew sparse and a bit disjointed. Compliments about our future were replaced by vague comments about needing to find oneself. I tried not to let my mind wander too far into a labyrinth of doubt, but there was something in her eyes sometimes, a flicker of secret heaviness, a moment of avoidance, that made me pause. Then, one seemingly ordinary Saturday afternoon, I returned home early from work with a surprising burst of anticipation to share a new idea with her. Instead, I found the living room empty. The silence was dense and unfamiliar. I recalled my phone buzzed with a message from one of our mutual friends, casually mentioning that Emily had gone out for lunch with friends rather than meeting me as we had planned. My stomach churned with unease, and a seed of fear took root. I tried calling her, but every attempt ended in silence. Days turned into a gloomy blur of unanswered calls and restless nights. Finally, a chance encounter at a local coffee shop provided the break in the silence I so desperately needed. I spotted Emily sitting in a corner booth, deep in conversation with another woman who wore an expression I couldn't quite place. My heart sank as I took in the scene. There was no sign of the warmth we once shared, only the cool distance of strangers conversing in hushed tones. Unable to contain my anxiety, I approached them. "Emily," I asked softly. Her eyes widened with a mix of shock and guilt before she mumbled, "Adrian, I need to explain." But before she could continue, the other woman interjected, "It's okay, Emily. Let me handle this." The conversation that followed was a frantic exchange of half-truths and apologetic murmurs that left me reeling. I left the coffee shop in silence, a heavy mix of hurt and confusion clouding my every thought. Later that night, while I was pacing my apartment, I decided to search through our shared drive, one of those digital spaces where we had stored photos, documents, and little reminders of our life together. That's when I stumbled upon a folder labeled Emily's New Beginning. With a heart sinking into despair, I clicked it open. There, I found messages, photos, even receipts for shopping sprees that I had never seen before. Among the files was an email with the subject "Special Gift," and attached was a photograph of the very ring I had once proudly shown her, the family heirloom that had been our beacon of hope for a shared future. The email was from someone identified only as Jenna. My mind raced wildly. Had she given my ring away? And if so, why would she do something so flagrant? My hands trembled as I read through the chain of messages that revealed Emily had, in a moment of impulsive decision, gifted the ring to Jenna, a friend she claimed would start a new chapter in her life. The betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound. That ring was not just a piece of metal. It was a symbol of my lineage, a testament to my family's love and memories, and now it was in the hands of someone else, a betrayal that stung with every ounce of its historical significance. The shock of it all shook me. I felt as if the very foundation of trust one had built with Emily had crumbled beneath me. All those quiet evenings, all the dreams I had scribbled down in my journal, had been built on what I now realized was a lie. I spent that night in a haze of grief and anger, the ring clutched in my hand, a relic turned into a symbol of deception. The next day, I mustered the courage to confront Emily. I didn't want an explosion of anger, something I wasn't ready for, but I needed answers. We met at our favorite park, a place once filled with laughter and shared secrets under sprawling oak trees. The air was crisp, and leaves rustled softly as I approached her. "Emily," I began, voice trembling but firm, "I need to know why you gave away my ring. That ring was a family heirloom, a symbol of everything I hold dear. Why would you do this?" Her eyes widened as if she had been caught in the midst of a confession. For a long moment, silence stretched between us, thick with emotions too complex to articulate. "Adrian, I'm so sorry," she finally said, tears welling up. "I didn't realize its significance until it was too late. I thought it was just a piece of jewelry, a symbol of our relationship, yes, but not something I truly valued. I made a terrible mistake, Anne. I'm sorry." Her voice cracked, the remorse raw and immediate, and as she spoke, I felt a swirl of conflicting emotions, anger mingled with sadness and a flicker of understanding. I searched her face for regret, for any sign that she comprehended the weight of her actions. "You gave it to Jenna," I pressed gently, "and did you ever stop to think about what that ring meant to me? It's not just a gift, it's my legacy, my family's history. When you handed it over, you erased a part of me." She lowered her eyes, unable to meet the intensity of my gaze. "I know," she whispered, "and I wish I could take it back. I was trying to move on, to shed the past and start afresh. I didn't think about how it would hurt you." Her words, though full of regret, didn't erase the betrayal, they merely underscored it. In that moment, I realized that while I could never undo what had been done, I could choose how to move forward. I left the park that day with a heart heavy with sorrow, yet also with a newfound resolve to reclaim my dignity and build a future on the foundations of truth and self-respect. The sting of betrayal was deep, but it also ignited within me a fire, a determination to live honestly, to preserve what was truly important, and to ensure that my legacy was defined by resilience, not by the careless actions of others. Over the following weeks, I immersed myself in work and personal projects that had long been shelved amid the tumult of heartbreak. I spent hours in quiet reflection, journaling every thought, every emotion, and even started a blog titled Heirloom Hearts. In it, I wrote candidly about the significance of family, the weight of traditions, and the pain of betrayal when someone you trust disregards what you hold sacred. I poured out my pain, my anger, but also my hopes for healing and renewal. My blog slowly gained traction, resonating with readers who, like me, had experienced the sting of betrayal. Comments and messages poured in. "Your words gave me solace in my own loss. I never knew a piece of jewelry could carry so much meaning until I read your story. And thank you for sharing your pain. I've felt it too." Each message was a reminder that while betrayal stings, our truths can also unite us and help us heal. I also reconnected with old friends who had always believed in me, those who reminded me that my worth was never measured by objects or material symbols. Their support bolstered my spirit, and slowly, I began to rebuild my life piece by piece. I learned to appreciate the subtle beauty of a sunrise, the gentle comfort of a quiet evening spent reading, and even the simple joy of walking through familiar streets with Buddy, our old dog from happier times who had once been a silent witness to our love. In time, the memory of that painful day, the discovery of my family heirloom being given away, lost some of its raw edge. It became part of my narrative, a chapter in the story of who I was and who I would become. I realized that while I could never reclaim the ring from Emily or Jenna, I could preserve its meaning in my heart by honoring the legacy it represented. I started researching the history of my family's heirlooms, collecting photographs, and even speaking with relatives who had stories to share about the ring's past, a past that now belonged solely to me. That process was therapeutic. It taught me that our most treasured possessions, while deeply sentimental, are ultimately symbols of something far greater. The love we share, the memories we cherish, and the strength we have to move forward even when life takes unexpected turns. I transformed that bitterness into something constructive, a living tribute to my family's legacy, and a reminder that I had the power to rebuild, even when the world around me seemed to crumble. Now, as I sit in the quiet of my apartment with a cup of tea in hand and the soft glow of evening light illuminating the room, I reflect on the winding path that led me here. I still feel the sting of betrayal, and I sometimes catch myself missing what once was. But I also recognize that every hurtful moment has added to the tapestry of my life, layering it with resilience, wisdom, and an unyielding commitment to truth. The ring, with all its history and hidden meaning, will forever be a symbol, not of what I lost, but of the legacy I continue to build with every step I take toward a future shaped by authenticity and strength. To anyone reading who has ever had their trust betrayed or seen something precious taken away before their eyes, remember this: your history is yours to cherish, and your future is yours to create. In the digital age, where every secret eventually surfaces, the truth has a way of setting you free. Embrace your journey, no matter how painful, and let every scar be a reminder that you have the strength to rebuild even the most shattered parts of your life. This is my story, a story of heartbreak, betrayal, and the long, winding path toward reclaiming my identity. I was once left in the dark, watching as the ring that embodied my family's legacy was given away to someone else. Yet through that pain, I discovered a reservoir of strength I never knew I had. I learned that while love can leave you bleeding, it also offers you the chance to grow, to redefine what is truly important, and to build a future that is unmistakably your own. May my journey inspire you to hold fast to your truth, to document every raw emotion and every hidden detail, and to know that even in the face of unimaginable betrayal, there is hope, a hope that shines quietly yet fiercely, guiding you to reclaim what was once lost and to create a legacy that is entirely, unequivocally yours.